Hello, welcome to the 1990 series. My name is Amanda O'Shea from the Serendipity Experience, and I have with me the gorgeous Gabriela Maldonado-Montano.
Thank you, Amanda, for saying that very long name.
It's lovely. With us from California today, Gilroy, California.
That's right, the very south tip of the Silicon Valley. I think we're the very, very last tip.
Oh wow! And it's nice and warm there today. You've still got some wind.
Yeah. It's supposed to be getting to 26 degrees or 79 degrees, depending on Celsius or Fahrenheit, which is unseasonally warm.
Right. So it's warm for you guys. Yeah. It's one for you guys. Gabriela, it's always so lovely to hang out with you, whether that's online or virtually or in person. And it was lovely to have just had those wonderful 4 days up at the Viva event. And that was recently. And it was so much fun. And it was just great. It was, really, really lovely. I love the title of
What's the title? What's our title, Amanda?
Finding your soulmate.
Finding our soulmate, yes.
Mm.
And I think this came up because we had the wonderful opportunity of having lunch in Albir. Can we do shout outs to the restaurant or no?
Yeah, 00.
00. We went to 00. It's a shout out to 00. We had great service.
That was amazing in Albir seafront there.
Yes, if you have an opportunity, go to 00. They really did take really good care of us. And we started talking about relationships and dating and soulmates and our better half and all of that. So
we laughed. We really had a good laugh on that Sunday. That was the Sunday before. And when you were doing your course with Jack Pransky and came up just to have lunch, I felt very honored to have lunch with Gabriela, just all to myself. That was so nice.
It was very nice. It was wonderful. It was a girl time. It was great.
But I love that conversation it was very honest, like chat, right? And I think it started off because I was talking about this new idea that I have about doing this sort of, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to set up this kind of club that is for single people who are dating or wish to be dating, who are, I don't know, 40 plus, and about how it is being on the dating, the dating scene when you're in the, in these years when people maybe are not in, it's not their first relationship when you're 40 plus. And we talked about, I was saying that I think there's lots of people, or I know that I've got friends who I can't believe they're single. And I had someone recently said to me, like, I can't believe you're single. And I was saying, I can't believe I'm single.
I can't believe you're single either.
So we had that conversation. Right. But then we were talking about like we were talking about our thinking playing out in relationships, and it was really, really lovely. And one of the greatest things that I've seen actually was when Amy Chen Mills came to Albia, and I was always on that sort of look or that quest for my soulmate, looking for my soulmate, believing that everything was going to be okay when I just met that perfect guy. And it never really panned out like that for me. So I remember being in a course, or we must have been like a workshop or a little retreat or something. And I was asking a question about soulmates. And I remember Amy saying something to me, or what I heard was, life is your soulmate. And I love that, because I had always given my power away. I see that to other people making me happy, and I really believed that at the time, that this wonderful, beautiful feeling that I had was coming from them. So I'd have these gorgeous, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm that all or nothing kind of girl, so I'm quite intense, and I'd fall into these amazing, like sort of, especially in the early days when everything was lovely and rosy, in that warm, lovely falling in love feeling, and then the devastation if it was like, you know, if I don't know, they didn't show up, or they didn't call, or whatever it was, or they had another plan.
Or if they farted, or what? You fart?
They snore.
What's that supposed to? Or snore?
That's bad. That's bad news if they snore. Huh? That like ruins the whole fairy tale.
Farting is allowed, but snorting is just.
Yeah, we've all got our different lists, hey? We've all got our different checklists. What's okay and what's not.
That's right. Yeah.
But we
go ahead.
We had that conversation about you know, regardless of whether you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship, there's something about looking for something in somebody else. You often refer to Will as your better half, or your other half, or your, what do you call him? Your lovely Will.
My hubby. I call him
hubby.
My hubby. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like we look for things in other people, right? We look.
Yes, we really do, Amanda. You know, I think whether you're dating or you're in a relationship, it's just so easy to get confused about what's the source of your well-being and happiness, you know, because we're trained since we're little, right? I mean, since we're little, Disney does such a good job with, you find the charming prince, right, riding a horse and all this stuff. And for many of us, at least the way that I grew up, the part of the goal, right, one of the goals was to find a person that would be charming and, you know, would cook in my case, right, and would dance, and, you know, would be kind and would belong to my same political party, and, you know, I mean, all of this stuff. It was just really, I had a lot of things that this person had to have to check on, you know. And so it's just really interesting, because if currently, you know, I am with Will, we're married, we have a beautiful, happy marriage. And I have seen how many expectations I have, you know, and how my expectations really get in our way to just enjoy each other, right? Thinking that if he does this or doesn't do this, then I will be happy, or he needs to change. And so just being raised in a way where my well-being depended all in the outside, including my, you know, finding, right, my soulmate, was really tricky. And, you know, it's interesting because this is my second marriage. My first marriage, at the time, I would have told you that that person was my soulmate. You know, we came out right off high school, we got married, we had a good marriage. It wasn't a horrible marriage. And so when we divorced, I felt like, oh my God, I'm doomed, right? Because I had my soulmate and now I don't. And so what does that mean for me, and what does that mean for my ability to be happy in the future? So there's just, I had so many misconceptions around that. I don't know if you want to say anything about that.
Yeah, well, it feels like I do see people searching and seeking for their soulmate, and really believing, like I did, that the answer was in that. And so any time that we're looking outside of ourselves for somebody else to make us happy or complete or whole or whatever, that's a big demand. That's a big ask on somebody else, right?
It's huge, and it's impossible, you know. I was starting to tell you in preparation for this how I was dating somebody that had no clue around one of my beliefs, being born and raised in Mexico City, which is when you're walking with, if a couple's walking down the street, the woman is always in the inside part of the sidewalk. This is a well-known fact.
Like to protect you.
I have no idea.
It's like to protect you from the traffic or to protect you from the road, right?
You know, I really don't know. I guess at one point with the carriages and all these things, it made sense. The only thing that I can tell you is I have no idea why that existed. Even today, I really don't understand it fully, but it was a fact. So I started dating somebody that didn't have that in their mind. And we go out and we start walking down the street, and immediately I started feeling like, wait, this cannot be the guy, because he started walking in the inside part of the sidewalk, right? And we actually had an argument about this. I was telling him, how is it possible that you don't know this? Like, who raised you? Who were you raised by? You know, like by wolves? And he's looking at me like, what are you talking about? You know, there was like no understanding that he had never heard that. And so I like that story. I like to remember that story because it's one of those things that we have so many invisible rules and expectations in our mind about people, right? That it's just impossible. It's just impossible, you know.
It's like that. It's like as if there's a right or wrong way to walk along the sidewalk, or a right or wrong way to stack the dishwasher, or a right or wrong way the order to wash up, or the right or wrong way to hang the toilet roll, or the right or wrong way
right.
leave the seat up or the seat down, or that's like when I work, or if I work with couples things, that's normally the kind of things that like you won't believe what he does, or you won't believe. It's normally not the thing. It's just that they do something different to the way that we think it should be done.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly they can be labeled as difficult or awkward.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, no, it's just different to the way I do it.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, I find that a lot in myself. I have the thing with shoes, right? Will loves to leave shoes at the bottom of the stairs. And I'm telling you, this has been such a thing for me. Fortunately, it's most of the time it's inside my head only. But when I come downstairs and I see shoes, literally the sides of the shoes start growing, right? Sometimes there's like 4 pairs of shoes, and I'm like, why do we need to have 4 pairs of shoes outside for crying out loud? Blah, blah, blah. But, you know, whether it's shoes or the toilet paper, I have an issue with the toilet paper as well. And the toilet, you know, the seat of the toilet being left up or down. It's easy to get distracted with thinking that your well-being, your wholeness as a human being really comes from your partner.
Yeah.
You know?
And that doesn't mean that you need to stay in a relationship that doesn't suit you, or, you know, you get to know what suits you, right?
Absolutely.
It's just what suits you. And there's something for me, I think, that I don't know, super helpful to see that just because somebody doesn't do something the way that I did it, or the way my mum used to do it, or what I was kind of brought up in or conditioned in or whatever, doesn't mean that it's wrong. So this thing of finding your soulmate, like I see people signing up for internet dating or whatever it is. I've never done that yet. I'm thinking about it, Gabriela. I'm thinking about it as an experiment. Yes.
I heard you told me.
Yes, but I've got a lot of thinking about that too. Like it doesn't fit my romantic. I want to meet someone because you meet, right? Your eyes, you meet them, your eyes meet across the room, or you meet them in the supermarket, or you meet them wherever it is. It doesn't suit my story, but it kind of makes sense to me that a lot of people do meet online because they know what they like and they know what they don't like, and those things are out the way. That whole finding your soulmate, if it's true that we're only ever really in a relationship with ourselves because we're in a relationship with our own thinking, it seems to me more like there's this practical element as well, that we meet someone that we I don't know, we play well together, we eat well together, we sleep well together, we live well together, we dance well together, we hang out well together. You know, there's the practical things where it seems like it's easy, or it seems like there's enough things that are easy that make that relationship kind of special. I can make anyone my soulmate. I had so many soulmates. You know, when I was younger, when I was traveling, I'd meet somebody, I'd have that amazing, like, oh my God, this is so, you know, beautiful. Like, oh, is this it? Is this like, are you the one? Like that. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. And then it, you know, it didn't work out. It didn't pan out. It's like, oh, I've met another soulmate and another soulmate. And there's that story I told before about I was really lucky that I wasn't into tattoos, because otherwise I'd have this whole list. Like,
There would be, yeah, there would be John.
right? But because that feeling of, oh my goodness, like it feels like people make my heart skip.
Mm-hmm.
But I now see that my thinking about people is what my heart feels. And I have this kind of thing that, if I don't know, if we you know, the universe makes two hearts skip at the same time, you know. I don't have to worry about it anymore. It's like, if if we meet people that we're, I don't know, attracted to or whatever it is, that just happens, and it will happen, and we can look for it and we can be active in it or whatever. But finding your soulmate now means, for me, like, just finding peace within yourself.
Mm. Yeah, you know, when I was hearing you talk, what I realized is that Will and I met at a time where we were both at peace, um, where we were both feeling really um, on top of our game.
Yeah.
When we were kind of, you know, I think in a way we were not actively looking, we were not searching. And I don't know exactly, you know, his process, but I can tell you that I felt good. I had felt, I don't know, I just felt like life is good. There is peace in my heart. I mean, situationally, I was doing well, but also just in my heart, you know, because there are a lot of people that situationally they're doing well, but they're still, you know, we're still struggling, even though the circumstances are going okay. But I just remember feeling really, I had discovered, you know what I had discovered? That whatever I felt for people came from me. You know, the love that I felt came from me. It was like tapping my own soul in the presence of another human being. They just happened to be there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They were the subject of my internal state of mind. And what that did for me, it freed me to play. It just freed me to hang out with people, you know, as I told you when we were having lunch. I was like, I'm just going to go play. I'm not going to look at this as dating to find a soulmate or a mate. It's going to be the same stance of when I used to go to the park to play. Um, and I really enjoyed dating. And I knew that some of the people that I was on dates with were probably not going to, we were not going to relationship, you know, I knew that. And still the date was so much fun and it was so enjoyable.
Yeah.
And when Will and I started dating, there was a point where I was really not sure that we were going to pan out. But one of the things that happened is I felt so free of the dating mindset, you know. I was just
Yeah.
like having fun. We were just really, you know, we were going running, we were doing these things that were just really enjoying the moment. And so when I least expected it, I fell in love, you know. When I least expected it, I mean, at the beginning of our relationship, I actually remember seeing a friend at an event, and she said, "Oh, are you dating, you know, will. And I said, no, we're just, we're just hanging out here. There's nothing really happening. And what happened is, just in the process of being in the moment, I just discovered this great human being, but my joy was coming from me.
Yeah.
My lightheartedness, that's a feeling that comes from me. So realizing that while I was dating and now in a relationship frees us. It frees me to, it frees me from ideas or beliefs that I think need to happen in our relationship for me to be happy. It's very interesting when you realize that your soulmate is you. You are your soulmate. When you realize that, or life, where we realize that there is wholeness in us in a very practical manner, it just allows us to have fun with people and enjoy them more. It makes things lighter. It's made things lighter for me. I can really laugh at myself, even at the things that he does. Like, there's been a couple of things that he does that I think, under the misconception that he was responsible for my well-being, I would have gone after him. I actually find him hysterical.
There's
so
a
there's
cuteness.
just
Yeah.
no, it's just like funny because he let me see, like one
It's
of
like
the things
quirky, isn't it? It's like something quirky that, I don't know, might really have felt like it could get on your nerves before.
or even rude, like, for example, he likes to watch boxing, right? And the kind of boxing that he watches is like, there's blood and there's like all this stuff, right? And I have friends that would say, oh my God, but why do you let him watch something so violent? I was like, well, he doesn't ask me for permission for once, right? But he enjoys that so much, he just really enjoys that so much. So he'll be watching that, and then I'll be wanting to connect with him. And I say, hey, is this a good time to tell you something? And he'll turn around and say, no, this is not a good time, right? You can have a lot of thinking about that as a couple, right? Because you want to connect with your partner. But somehow it's almost like, man, what's going on? It's just, what happens? I have a lot less of a tendency to take it personally.
Yeah. And deep listening to that, not now. That's what he's saying. No, not now.
No, not
we
now.
We don't like to listen to that, right? Not, if we're going to talk about deep listening, as Jack Pransky loves to talk about deep listening, but it's so true. Where is somebody at? Is it a good time to have a heart-to-heart? Not now. You're not going to get anything pleasant out of somebody who is not now. No, they need to watch their football or their rugby or their boxing or whatever, and they're fine. And I think we don't listen to that. I don't think we do. We do really take things personally, that if somebody's in a bad mood, it might have something to do with us. That's super helpful for us to see this understanding that somebody else's mood is just where they're at, right? Nothing to do with us.
Right. And I think when you see that you are whole, regardless of whether he's watching boxing or rugby or whatever it is that they're watching, or not wanting to talk to you just because they want quiet time, right? Or they want to read a newspaper or read a book. It's nice to remember, when that happens, and I really see that I'm whole and complete regardless, it's more difficult to take it personally.
Yeah.
So one of the side effects that's happened from noticing that I'm whole and complete and my soul is whole and complete, right, is that really relaxes me. It really relaxes me from whatever he's doing or not doing. It really it really allows me to take it in stride, or even enjoy my time alone. It's very interesting. I think freedom and flexibility is the gift that we get when we realize that our soulmate is us. You know, we are whole and complete. And so that has been, I think, the greatest gift from realizing that. And also, it's allowed me to be more playful.
And that's nice.
You know,
more playful is where it's at, huh? And two people that come together and feel that they've got everything and they understand that, and that's just great. I mean, that's just a bonus, right? But the only person that needs to know this is us.
Mm-hmm. You know, I heard Will talking to somebody else, and he was talking about our relationship, and he said, look, I know that if something were to happen to me, to Gabriela, that it would be difficult, but I know that I'm whole, and I know that I would go on. Mm. And I know the same thing. Yeah. I don't want anything to happen to Will, but I know that if something were to happen to him, that I would go on. Yeah. And so I think when there is that freedom and that security in your own well-being, it just really allows us to be, whether we're dating or in a relationship, in a completely different way, you know, with more freedom and more.
It does, because in the same way, it's like saying, for me, like, I love dating or being in a relationship, but I'm okay if I'm not also. Mm-hmm. No, it doesn't have the power. I don't give that power away. And that just makes us live more, right? When we're not fearing not having something, we can just live more. Mm-hmm. I love the thing of playing in the park. Like, I'm just going to go and play in the park. Like, when we're just playing, somebody doesn't have to be perfect. They don't have to be a perfect, soul friend, right?
Right.
In the park. Yes. Just someone there, like who just happens to be here today.
That's right. That's right. You know, I was taking somebody to the park. I don't remember who, but I think it was one of my friends' little girl. But it really, really, surprised me again. So she got to the park, and there were other little girls at the park, and instantly they were good friends. Right. And then they didn't want to play anymore, together. So then they didn't, and then they went back and played a little bit more, and then they didn't. But there was such freedom that really allowed them to enjoy themselves, at the park for a day. So seeing that, it's just such an ordinary thing, right? That happens every day. But it just really reminds me the possibility that I have to experience life with that lightheartedness and playfulness, and joy and possibility. Mm. So I like that.
I like that too, and I like the fact that when you have that more peace, or this is what I experienced being single, is that you also get to see the beauty in other relationships around you. There doesn't have that taste of, oh, when's it going to be my turn, or why not me, or envy or anything. It's just beautiful to see love in action, whether that's inside or whether that's in other people. Mm-hmm. It's nice, right? And and it's nice to see. So how lovely! What a lovely chat. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Amanda. And hopefully we'll get to play in the park soon.
We should play. Oh, what should? Somebody should have told us. Somebody should have told us. We were just playing, right?
We were just playing. That's right.
I'm going to play more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, being playful is one of the things I think that I enjoy and appreciate about understanding, how we function, and understanding that in reality, we're kind of like soulmates with the world, with life, with each other, with ourselves, that there's nothing really that we're lacking or missing.
So we've got it all. That's good news, right?
Those are the good news.
Good news. Gabriela Maldonado-Montano, muchas gracias, guapa.
Muchas gracias a ti, guapa.
And I'll just see you when I'm next looking at you.
Perfect. Already. Have a great time.
Lots
Bye.
of love to you.
Bye.
Bye
Take
bye,
care.
lovely. Thank you so much for being one of the 1990. And thank you everybody
Thank
for
you.
listening.
Thank you.
Lots of love. Bye bye
Lots of
bye.
love. Bye.
Bye.